This isn't just a story. It's a journey, one that'll stay with you long after the video ends. So if you've ever felt love, loss, betrayal, or hope, then stay with us. Because this story deserves to be heard from the very first second to the very last. If this video moves you, even for a moment, please give it a like. Leave a comment telling us which part hit you the hardest, and share it with someone who needs to feel something real today. And if you love stories that are raw, emotional, and unforgettable, then subscribe to the channel. Because we don't just tell stories here, we bring them to life.
My name is Neha, and life, well, it never handed me anything on a silver platter. Ever since I can remember, people's eyes would stop at my chest, not because I was showing anything but because, as they'd put it, there was nothing to look at. Flat as a boy. You're almost perfect, except for that. If only you had a fuller figure, you could be a model. These words burned themselves into my brain. From school to college, I never fit the ideal woman image. I didn't have the curves. I didn't have the confidence. And every time I stood in front of the mirror, I didn't see myself. I saw their judgment. My biggest problem wasn't my body. It was how the world reduced my worth down to one thing I didn't have. I could never openly talk about this with anyone. Even my mother once said, "Beta, you should be grateful for what God gave you. Don't even think about surgery. Be natural." I stayed silent. But inside, something had already caught fire. I wanted to be natural. But I also wanted to love myself. Then one day everything changed. I was reading an article in the college library about women's fitness journeys. And one line stopped me cold. You can't always control your genetics, but you can control how you carry them. That hit me hard. That day I made a promise to myself. I would rewrite my own story. No surgeries. No shortcuts. Just pure raw effort. I would learn to love myself, and build myself too. When I went to join a gym, the receptionist gave me a look. That up and down glance, like she was thinking, "What are you going to fix?" But I didn't flinch. Not anymore. Day 1. Day 2. Day 3. My body screamed in pain. Every muscle protested. But every ache reminded me why I started. To silence every comment that had ever broken me. My trainer, Ria, was a strong, no-nonsense woman. When I told her my goal, to feel confident in my own body and yes, to enhance my chest naturally, she didn't laugh. She simply said, "I'll teach you to see yourself like a goddess. But you have to work like one." From that day, my journey wasn't just about workouts. It was about learning discipline, understanding nutrition, and finding self-love. I started strength training, focusing on upper body, chest, and back. Ria created a personalized routine with exercises that strengthened my pectoral muscles. The base that gives natural lift. We added protein shakes, a clean diet, and hormone-free, plant-based supplements to support natural enhancement. There was no magic. No overnight miracle. Just knowledge, consistency, and commitment. Week by week, I began to see changes. Not just in my figure, but in my posture, my energy, my confidence. The mirror no longer made me feel shame. It reflected hope. But the real shift came when I ran into an old friend at the gym. Someone who had once joked about my lack of assets. He looked at me, really looked at me, and said, "Neha, you've changed. You look powerful. You're glowing." That's when I realized, this wasn't just about my breast size. This was about becoming the woman I was always meant to be. With every passing week, I could feel the change. Not just in the mirror, but in how I walked, talked, and carried myself. My posture had improved. My clothes fit better. And yes, my chest had visibly filled out. Not exaggerated, but naturally toned, rounded, and lifted. People began to notice. Even those who once mocked me started complimenting my glow-up. Some assumed I got surgery. Some whispered behind my back. But none of it mattered anymore, because for the first time in my life I was proud of myself. One evening, I stood in front of the mirror, wearing a fitted maroon dress I had never dared to try before. And I stared, not at flaws, not at what was missing, but at the woman I had become. Strong, defiant, feminine. But the moment confidence arrives, so does life. To test it. It started subtly, Ria noticed I was getting obsessed with my progress. I weighed myself 3 times a day. I pinched my skin in the mirror. If I missed a single workout, I panicked. One evening, she sat beside me after training and said gently, "Neha, are you transforming your body or punishing it?" Her words hit me harder than any dumbbell ever could. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Was I replacing one insecurity with another? Was I becoming a slave to this new version of myself? I remembered why I started, not to be perfect but to feel whole. To feel worthy. I decided to reset. To shift focus from appearance to strength. I began tracking how much I could lift, how long I could hold a plank, how fast I could run, instead of just how I looked. Ria introduced me to a small women's support group. Women like me from all walks of life. Some were overcoming obesity, others healing from breakups, postpartum depression or body image trauma. We weren't just sculpting our bodies. We were rebuilding our identities. One day during a group session, a girl named Maya, petite and shy, shared something that made me tear up. She said, "I used to think I was invisible. But here I feel seen." I looked around, and for the first time I felt something I had never known before. Sisterhood. I wasn't alone. And my journey was someone else's inspiration. A few weeks later, the gym hosted a transformation showcase. Not a competition, but a celebration. Women stood on a small stage and shared their stories. Their before and after photos. Their struggles. Their victories. I hesitated. Ria pushed me forward. "You've come too far to hide now." So I walked up. The lights hit my face. The room fell silent. I held the mic with trembling hands. I spoke. "My name is Neha. And for most of my life I thought I wasn't enough. That I had to change to be loved, to be admired, to even be noticed. I started training to grow one part of my body, but I ended up growing my soul." The applause was thunderous. I smiled. And for the first time I didn't need anyone's validation. I had given it to myself. But just when I thought I had reached peace, something unexpected happened. An email. Subject: "You've been selected." Sender: FitFem Wellness Campaign, National Fitness Awareness Drive. I blinked. They'd seen my photos, read my story, and now, they wanted me to be the face of their next campaign. Me, the girl who once couldn't even look in the mirror. Life was about to change, again. When I opened that email, my hands were trembling. "Congratulations, Neha. You've been selected as the face of FitFem's National Wellness Campaign. Strong is beautiful." I couldn't believe it. From being mocked for my body, to becoming the face of natural transformation and strength. My eyes welled up. Ria hugged me tight. "You earned this," she whispered. "The world's just catching up." The next few days moved like a dream. Photoshoots. Interviews. Brand fittings. For the first time I walked into a room and people stood up. Not because of how I looked, but because of what I represented. Then came the big day. The launch event. I stepped onto a stage, flashing cameras in front. A giant LED screen behind me showing my transformation. My before and after journey, my gym clips, my speech from the showcase. People clapped. Some cried. I stood tall, confident, glowing. But when I looked deeper into the crowd, I saw her. My ex-best friend. Ritika. The same girl who once laughed at my invisible curves. The one who told a boy in college, "Neha's sweet but she's not woman enough." Now she sat in the audience, silent, expression unreadable. Later that night she sent me a DM. "Congrats on your surgery. Hope it was worth it." I froze. "What?" I responded. "No surgery. I worked for this. You know that." Her reply came fast. "Sure. Let's see what the internet thinks." Within 24 hours the storm began. A gossip blog picked up my old college photos, ran them alongside my campaign pics and headlined it. "Another fake transformation? Fitness star accused of lying about surgery." I felt my world spinning. Comments exploded. "She's lying. Come on, no one grows like that naturally. Just another influencer with a fake story." It hurt more than I expected. Not because they doubted me, but because for the first time in years, I felt shame creeping back in. Ria was furious. We shut this down. Legal action. You don't owe anyone proof. But I wasn't here to hide. I was here to fight. So I posted a video. No filters. No makeup. Just me in a hoodie. Hi. My name is Neha. And no, I didn't get surgery. I got up at 5 a.m. every day. I lifted weights when my muscles burned. I cried through pain. I stayed consistent. I fueled my body. I studied science. I didn't buy my body, I built it. And if my transformation looks impossible, maybe that says more about what you think of women than about me. The video hit 3 million views in 24 hours. People started sharing their own journeys. Hashtags like #RealWithNeha and #BuiltNotBought started trending. And then, something I never expected happened. Ritika posted a public apology. I was bitter. I was jealous. I didn't believe someone could rise from where we were. But Neha, you proved me wrong. And I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because in that moment I realized something. I didn't need bigger anything to feel complete. What I needed was already inside me all along. The journey wasn't about breasts. It was about breaking chains. About rewriting the story that the world tried to write for me. And now it was mine. The world had seen my rise, my breakdown, and my fight back. But even after the internet moved on, something inside me hadn't settled. Yes, the FitFem campaign was a success. Yes, I was now a recognized name in the fitness and transformation world. Yes, women from across the country messaged me every day saying, "You gave me hope." But quietly, I was exhausted. The past few months had been a whirlwind. Applause, hate, fake articles, viral videos, brand meetings. And somewhere in between, I had forgotten to just breathe. So I took a break. I turned off my notifications. Logged out of Instagram. No makeup. No cameras. Just silence, sweat, and the sound of weights clinking at my local gym. One afternoon, after an intense chest and upper body session, I sat alone on the rooftop, sweaty, sore, but peaceful. Then my phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Later, as I sipped on a protein shake, I played the message. Hi Neha. This is Dr. Madison from the National Women's Health Initiative. We've been following your journey and we believe your story can change lives. We'd like to offer you the opportunity to speak at our Global Women's Wellness Conference in New York next month. Call us back if interested. I stared at the screen. Global. Me. From being laughed at in locker rooms to now standing on an international stage, speaking about natural growth, discipline, body image, and self-worth. It felt surreal. But before I could celebrate, something else happened. Something personal. A letter arrived. No return address. Just my name handwritten. Inside was a single page and it read, Neha, I've been watching from a distance. You don't know me, but I've known you. I was the boy in college who liked you, but stayed silent because my friends mocked your body. I didn't have the courage to stand up. But now, seeing who you've become, I just want to say you were beautiful back then. And you're unstoppable now. I'm sorry. And I'm proud of you. Tears rolled down my cheeks. It wasn't about him. Or what he didn't say back then. It was about hearing the words I once begged for, now arriving when I didn't need them anymore. That's growth. That's power. When I finally stood at the global conference, in a dark green blazer holding the mic in front of thousands of women, I didn't speak like a model or an influencer. I spoke like a warrior. I didn't change for the world. I changed to stop the world from changing me. You don't need to match their idea of beauty. You need to match your own potential. And no, I didn't become a perfect woman. I became a woman who stopped waiting for permission to be powerful. The room exploded in applause. That night, as I sat in the green room, I looked in the mirror, the same kind I once avoided, and whispered to myself, you did it. But this isn't where it ends. Because now, I help others rise too. Through my online program, through my story, through real connection, I guide young girls who feel incomplete, who are told they're not enough, who look in mirrors and see only flaws. Now they have a voice. And I've made sure it's louder than the ones who mocked them. Because the truth is, breast size never defined me. But the strength I built to rise above it, that's what made me unforgettable.